Welcome to the ITSM Practice Podcast.
Welcome back to the ITSM Practice Podcast. I'm Luigi Ferri. In this second part of Two Sides of the Same Coin, why IT security fails without service management, we go deeper into the challenges, lessons, and practical insights from my talk in Madrid at ITSM Day. Let's continue. Cheers! So, how this can be prevented? This can be prevented if we make security part of service management. Another topic is asset management. We cannot protect what we don't know. So if I think about some startup, they use cloud services, Kubernetes, GitLab, but you don't have a single view of your pre-production, single view of production, single view of a live environment. If you miss this, you don't have a minimum asset management, and you don't have a CMDB, or you don't plan to do this, you are working blind, because you don't know where to apply patches. You don't know if there is a potential vulnerability, if you have an OWASP top 10 inside your organization. And the question for us is, what is the level of accuracy of our systems? A CMDB or an asset management? Let's say asset management is very minimal, the list of your VMs. Your CMDB is, what are the business processes that are running thanks to these VMs? What is the level of accuracy? Are you able to identify all the environment, all applications inside of your organization? This is a key every time we talk about security, vulnerability, and change management. This is an example that comes from my experience. An organization was providing ATMs. We had this. It is working. It is old, runs on Windows 2000, but it is not mapped. The engineer that is managing this maybe is not here, but is still there doing his job. And here we have the new one. He is beautiful, works, he has all the information, he's patched, he runs smoothly. They are doing the same job. What is the problem? That we don't know what is this. We don't know where is this. And this is every day a treat for your organization. So we need to consider our organization. Are we more like the ATM on the right, or more like the ATM on the left, or we are in the middle? We need to identify all potential assets and ask to ourselves what is the life cycle of these devices and how we will manage their retirement or their upgrade. Without a service management, we have an increase of risks, an increase of inconsistent controls. Example, you need to pass a specific audit, and they are expecting that you have change management that is managing the change of all data centers. And with the minimum check in a Linux server, an auditor can tell, yes, you apply the change the 1st of March, but you don't have any change documented in your tool for this appliance. This will be a problem. And compliance gaps, especially for GDPR, there are countries very strict. And every time you are applying a change to an asset where customer information are flowing or employee information are flowing, you have to take care that the change is mapped to support the technical operational measures. So if we don't integrate security in service management, we have a fragmented security inside different perimeters and different tools that are giving an information that is not standardized. My suggestion is to use ITIL. Why ITIL? Because it's flexible. Why ITIL and not the ISO 20000? Because ITIL has a much bigger community behind that is supporting you acquiring knowledge, learning knowledge. The fact that vendors choose ITIL to deliver service management is giving you the chance of finding templates inside the service management platform. And also there are resources built by the Spanish government, the Italian government, the German government, where you can find guidelines, because our cybersecurity agencies are building guidelines for us, and we can use these guidelines as minimum tool to consider inside our organization how we want to do something. We don't need every time to restart from the scratch. You can choose another framework, but you will not find the same level of details. For example, I was sharing the NIST. The NIST is a government institution. They build documents for everyone. We can read the NIST documentation, and we can also map this on ITIL, or we can understand how much ITIL process we need. And we have a basic tool to analyze our organization to understand where we are and where we want to arrive in terms of maturity. I give you here an example. If we have a strategy with a unified framework, we use ITIL in IT and in security. One framework. There are several practices in the past called processes. You can identify all practices that you need, but the most interesting thing, once you learn ITIL, you can build your own practice respecting the ITIL values. For example, if you create a service package because the Spanish financial authority wants a specific product with specific descriptions, you can use ITIL service design to build this. You don't have every time to reinvent the wheel. Integrated incident response. You have one tool, one process, one team, one training session, and all people are working on the same way. The only question that is needed is this incident a security incident or a service management incident? You don't have any more split the teams. Change management with security gates is protecting from mistakes. CMDB-driven asset security means that you know what is inside your organization every moment. A continual improvement comes from the fact that all this knowledge needs a knowledge manager that is creating the guidelines that are reducing the number of mistakes that in every organization we do. I do mistakes, my colleagues are doing mistakes. Sometimes we are not a bit lazy, we don't read the documentations, every change could become a problem. And these are the practices that I suggest to consider in terms of maturity. So if tomorrow you want to integrate security inside the service management, I suggest that you evaluate these 5 pillars, and they will help you to understand how much you are far. So incident management, you bring security incident inside the ITIL practice. Same for change, asset, problem management, and continual improvement. This is the minimum set. You can find resources for free for incident, change, asset, a problem, and you can build your own vision. And this will help you to integrate security in service management, and in the long term, you will have always security incident because this is part of life, and hackers are there trying to, let's say, make their day. But you will have a more integrated environment, and this means that in the long term, you will have less downtime. A strong security culture starts when teams are not working anymore in parallel, but they work united, unison, just as one thing. This is important because it's a big silos. In Italy, in UK, in Germany, where I worked, there is say, in the org chart, the cube of security, the cube of service management, but they are facing the same challenges. If a leadership wants this change, in the medium, the short term, they will see the benefit. Because security and service management are talking using the same language. Today, when we are designing a project, we design a project using Prince2 or Scrum, and after at some point, we think about security. So if it's an IT project, at some point, you have to integrate security. With this approach, my suggestion is you start to think about security and service management the moment that you are designing or you are in the first stage of your project, and continuous integration. So today we have cloud, AI, RPA. All these solutions are talking with ERP, service management, customer data. If we integrate security service management, we have one point to control, and one point that is spreading the rules inside our organization. So the question for me, for everyone, our culture is supporting an integration of service security practices, or we think about this. To integrate security in service management is a big change, but the question is if we don't do this we don't approach this organizational change, in the long term, we will chase constantly the issues coming from the attackers, the lack of configurations. IT security and IT service management cannot work in isolation. So one is protecting the other one. Yesterday I was reading that Microsoft is delivering now a new big change where you can have the connection between your desktop and your private drive and your company drive. You can switch between both without authentication. This is a typical situation. Who will approve this change? It will be service management or is IT security. If you have an integration, this problem that arose yesterday can be managed by one team and you don't have to think about, I did a mistake. So this was an overview of what is to integrate service management inside the IT security. And now, if you want, Pablo, for me, it's a pleasure.
Thanks so much, Luigi, to be here, to coming from Berlin, from Berlin, and for share with us so insightful presentation. Because, as you mentioned, we always see service management and security management as two different realities, but it's not. It's one service, one value stream. So, thanks so much for sharing, Luigi. Go with the questions. The first one, with the AI in enterprises, how do we address the new vulnerabilities in our teams, processes, and services?
Yes, this is a very good, very good
An easy one.
Yeah.
An easy one to start.
Yeah, it's very interesting. So the first thing that I suggest is, if you want to introduce AI in your organization, start with an assessment. So I had organizations started from 0 to hero, having problems. My suggestion is start with the proof of concept, define which systems will feed AI, and what do you want to achieve. And consider also a way to audit AI, because we have a problem. I did an experiment, because I use AI every day. It makes my life easier, it cuts a lot of my time. I was trying to create problem reports, extracting data from my service management tool, creating a prompt that has a goal to create a problem report, but AI was pleasing me. So I told them, give me a problem report in order to discuss this with the team. So AI chose to take my position and attacking the team. Mm-hmm. And after I told to the same tool, now I'm in this team, write the answer. And I found this situation where the problem report was there, but information was a bit manipulated. So my suggestion is, start with the proof of concept, clean your data, and after define the rules, and verify that the rules are really telling the truth when you are analyzing data.
Great. The next one, to follow compliance rules, it is supposed to open a change for every vulnerability detected. In a big and complex scenario, this would mean hundreds of changes.
Yes. The first thing, we get vulnerabilities from a recognized website or from a recognized organization. Once we receive the vulnerability, we can define a threshold in our risk management process. For example, if the CVE point is 0.1, you don't create a risk. If the point is 0.1, but the machine is supporting our payment system, you have to assess what could be the impact. So I cannot use an approach black and white. Every vulnerability needs a change management, very strict. No. You can also use a standard change for a vulnerability. What is important is the level of risk. If it's low level, you can track it. You don't need to open a risk. You can use a standard change because you are assessed this event in the past and you know how to act. But if this vulnerability is affecting a relevant number of your virtual machines, and you think that there could be a potential issue because the number is relevant, my suggestion is approach with a normal change. You start with the first batch, second batch, third batch, and after you finish your activity. More balanced. But I don't suggest, I always suggest a balanced approach because it's very expensive for an organization to have a mistake.
And it's the same for CMDB, and CS the same for a lot of things. All we need to have the cost in front in our thoughts. So thanks so much, Luigi, for being here and for your presentation.
Thank you. Grazie.